What's up, champions? It's Devin Peterson here, and you are watching Bullseye and Beyond. And this is where we take the questions that you ask and I answer them honestly. So today we had loads of questions come through, and I've posted a few of the episodes early on, but we're now moving on to the next episode because the next question is one that is probably asked the most, but I think that people ask it in different ways, and I think that answering it in the different ways makes a lot of sense. So the question comes from the social media platform, and it says, Devin, quick question. I want you to make sense of something for me, which is a great idea because I love to make sense of things. Number one, what gives DSA the right to implement rules that breaks South African constitutional rights? So I'm going to go through this and answer it as the question comes up, right? So what gives them the right? Absolutely zero. Number one is Darts South Africa is a hobbyist sport, right? And they govern a hobbyist sport. They do get Protea colors, but it's seen in a way that it's not really governed the same as the other sports itself. So there is a constitution, there is obviously a national event, and it is seen as a national sport. But based on the size, based on the positioning of it, they should be doing more for you or serving the player rather than controlling the player. And this is a big thing that's currently happening. Because in perspective, I mean, if you go to the Law and Order episode, it will give you, on the revised policy, it will give you every single constitutional infringement that they currently have, or the most highlighted ones in that. It's insane what is currently happening, and I wish it wasn't the case. But unfortunately, I mean, by excluding you and telling you can't play in events that has prize money attached to it, that is not just a organization, but it is an event that can bring money in for your family. There's areas that they're stopping you on, and it doesn't have to be like that. So question number one, Episode 2, Law and Order, that will give you the full explanation. This is an interesting one. If we left DSA and went to ADG, who would benefit and what would we be leaving behind should we leave DSA? Now, that is a loaded question, and I'm going to answer it in pieces as we go along. But let me go with the first part. If we left DSA and went to ADG, who would benefit? So this is a big part of it. Everybody benefits. So whether you are playing in the Super Leagues of 55 and below, whether you are playing in the intermediate, which is 56 to 65, or whether you're playing in the Pro Elite, which is 66 and above, everybody has an opportunity to, number one, play in a league that certainly has prize money for them. Then they also have an opportunity to play in the Modus Knockout, the Challenge Cup that allows you to qualify for the Modus. Then you have an opportunity to play in the ADC Global Championship. Then everybody has an opportunity to play in the in the African Continental Tours. Everybody has an opportunity to play in the World Cup qualifier in the PDC. Everybody has an opportunity to play in the World Championship qualifier. Currently now in Darts South Africa, you play one national event and only 16 players get to play. So I think it is 8 men, 6 ladies, and 2 youth. And it is a challenge. And I think that when you look at a holistic system, what happens then? When you come to the ADG and with our new ADG Franchise Teams League setting up, it will be exactly the same as your federation. So you don't have to change anything. The only thing is that by you saying, I'm not going to be part of Darts South Africa, and you don't actually need to. You can actually stay part of Darts South Africa and just play our events anyways. If they're going to write letters to everybody in your federation or your association, then I think you have to make a choice. But I think that currently now, there's less reason to actually stay with DSA. And I would want everybody to stay with DSA because they are the national federation. But because there's a limited or limiting of your player exposure and experience and the competition structure, they literally just telling you to sit down and keep quiet. And you do as we tell you to do, which isn't supposed to be the case. So I'm saying that who it benefits? It benefits everybody if you are to leave Dart South Africa. And when you say, what are you leaving behind? The one thing that you are leaving behind is the control, the lack of events, the inclusivity of all events. You will then also be adopting all tournaments access. You'll be adopting development programs. You'll be adopting a women's series events. You'll be adopting the IDSL international events. You'll be adopting the African Continental Tour. You'll be adopting World Championship events, both on the PDC as well as the ADC. And you'll have Motor Super Series. So when you balance it out, right, and you have a choice, you can balance it out. The federations have a voice. I just don't think that they're using it, which is insane. And the last question for this person is, I also am not understanding as to why Pro DSA is allowed to send their players to the PDC events, but the moment we also DSA players want to play in the PDC qualifiers or events, we get a ban or suspension of 2 years. So great question again, and it's blown my mind for the longest period. You can allow, so it's more the hypocrisy of it. It's because the ADG, they don't want to give any power to the ADG. But what we have been saying is you can't allow the players to play on one side and they can enter the PDC events through the Pro DSA, but you limiting them to actually play in a World Championship event, which doesn't make sense. The World Cup event doesn't make sense. Motor Super Series, ADC, all of these things, right? And what we have been saying is the following, is allow all your players to play and let's motivate them to stay with the Dart South Africa. Let's motivate them to continue to play, but explore the opportunities. You're not going to lose any players. By limiting you now, they are threatened by the fact that this could change everything and they could walk out and there could be a walkout. Now, we preparing for the worst. Like everybody goes, you know what, Dart South Africa, we don't want to deal with you, and that's it. They're going to have to listen to you because you're the player. But what we're also making sure is when you do that, we are prepared for everything to remain the same, but enhanced levels of tournament access. So we are launching the ADG Darts Festival. And the Darts Festival includes 3 levels of teams. So what that will mean is your Super League, Elite and Pro Elite will play in the festival. So imagine your federation and you have a national event, which is the C teams can play in it, the B team can play in it, and the A team can play in it. And then everybody else can participate in the singles event. So it makes it open to all, which is what it should be. The current categories at the national event is A to F, I think it is. And then it's not the same kind of competition because A is loaded with a lot of Western Cape teams. And when you look at the other teams, it's the smaller associations that come from the bottom with zero development. So what I'm saying to you is 3 great questions. And I feel as though the bottom line and conclusion to it all is that there has to come a time where an association stands up and says, you know what, if we left and we just tried it out, what's the worst that could happen? You're not going to be stopped. They're not going to stop you from playing the sport. They're not going to stop you from participating in events that you host as an association. They're not going to stop your Thursday night darts. They're not going to stop any of your traditional events. They're not going to be able to stop any of that because you can still play it under a different banner. You can still play it even under your own banner and then let your players decide where they want to play, because one nationals costs you a lot of money, but you go there and play for a trophy and a medal, and then only the players that are playing provincial are actually playing for Protea colors, which is very different. But what I am saying is it costs you all the same amount of money, or some teams more, some teams less, depending on where you travel. When you go travel for the ACTs, when you travel for franchise leagues, when you travel for women's series, when you travel for IDSL, all of these have international exposure and experiences. So what if all of this changes because of a decision you make as association. So I think the question coming through, thank you very much for it. It's given me an opportunity to kind of express and make you understand. A lot of the episodes before do explain it, but I think this compacts it in a way that you can just share it and make sure that more associations hears it. Darts South Africa hears it, and we are open for the conversation to make sure that none of the players actually leave, but they get everything that they desire. Because what we are saying is Darts South Africa will forever be the Federation of South Africa. They will forever be the mother body of the sport. But what they're currently doing is not developing the sport. They're holding the sport hostage, holding all the players hostage. And for what? Political gain? It does not make sense. My goal is to make sure that Darts South Africa hears this, your players hear it, all of the South African players hear it, African players hear it. Understand that the sport of darts is there to be played, not to control you and limit you, because the exposure internationally is what we all deserve. We invest a lot of time in the sport and we deserve better. This is Bullseye and Beyond. The truth matters.